This is a short example of how our unique digital film clips can be embedded into your family tree to produce both a factually accurate narrative and visual representation of how your Scottish ancestors lived and worked. Our clips represent a time period from the late 1800s to the mid-1900s. The clips used here are short versions, but we can provide extended examples across many aspects of life and work in Scotland, which will enable you to have a greater understanding about your Scottish ancestors' life. Utilising some of your own ancestral family photos and your own family history narrative, we can embed our digital clips to highlight how life for them was in Scotland. If your ancestors worked in agriculture, for example, we will show how the land was first taken into production with hard labour, utilising simple tools. Our clips can show the thatched houses they lived in and later on how the farm buildings were functionally designed. The training and role that the Clydesdale horse would have played in the development of agriculture and the type of technologies used for the implements. Much of the work was not mechanised, including the sowing of the seeds with the HAPPER, the cutting of the corn with the sharp scythe, the animal husbandry practised when the cattle were tied up in the byre from October to May each year. See the links your ancestors had with the natural environment, with the casting of peats, which were utilised as fuel source for heating the kitchen and cooking the foods. Your ancestors would have been pioneers of steam power, as seen here at the threshing mill. Following the threshing mill, the mattresses on which your ancestors slept on up to the 1950s would have been filled with fresh chaff. The outside toilet would have been in the garden, as no running water would have been available in the house. Your female ancestors played a vital part in your past. See some of the work she did in rural settings. Butter and cheese was made by her. The weekly wash was done either in the wash house or outside in the wash tub. See her using the box iron heated in the peat fire. Monday for her was bacon day. She also had other roles. Here we see the fishwife getting her fish from the fishermen and then walking many miles to the country locations to sell the fish. It was also a woman's work to look after the various kinds of lights used before electricity came. Your ancestors would have seen many new developments, such as the FORDSON and the Fergie tractors replacing the Clydesdale horse as a power source in agriculture in the mid-1900s. The mid-1900s also saw more families having cars. Yes, your ancestors worked hard, but they also knew how to enjoy themselves. Here we see a night of entertainment in the farm barn. The entertainers were part of the same rural community, working the land by day and having a tune at night. All entertainment was self-made till the 1960s. Education was also very local in its provision, with all rural areas having their own country school. Numbers in the late 1800s would have been about 120 pupils. The same school in the 1930s would have had about 70 pupils. And when most rural schools closed in the 1960s, there would have been as few as 15 pupils at that particular school.
Equals 1 penny. Repeat after me, I said.
Farthings equals 1 penny.
2 halfpennies equals 1 penny.
The commentary on the clips and your narrative can be done in English or using the Scots language. Here I speak to you in the Doric dialect of Aberdeenshire. We can make the commentary in any language of your choice. Hello, Fitleg. My name is Don Carney. I was brought up in this farm called Drumnaheath, Lay Lodge, Kintore in Aberdeenshire.
There was also 4 other generations of Carneys afore me at this place. My first ancestor was my great-great-grandfather. He came here in 1793.